Welcome to Codex, a history of video games. My name is Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta.
And this week, we're going to be covering Undertale and some general indie game shenanigans going on here. But first, we've got a message from Matt in Japan. Mike, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So Matt says, on the topic of Final Fantasy 14, I want to know if Tyler has seen the Netflix series from a couple of years ago called Final Fantasy 14 Dad of Light. Have you seen that, Tyler?
I have not seen that, and I know that it exists, and it's one of those ones that's been on my list. I've been meaning to watch it, but I just haven't yet.
You know what? Maybe this is the kick in the pants you needed. But if you don't know what it is, it's a Japanese miniseries based on a true story about a father and son who bond over Final Fantasy 14. They recently turned the series into a movie, and it's actually playing in Japanese movie theaters right now. Wow. Thank you, Matt. But Matt didn't just want to talk to you. He wanted to talk to me, too. That's why Matt's so great. You know, he gives us both equal screen time, which is wonderful. And he says,
Thanks, Matt.
As for Mike, I've compiled a list of games that feature boomerangs for him. You remember this?
Yes.
My boomerang questions?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
This email's digging back a little bit because...
It is. I mean, it's been a while since... it's our fault. Like, I forgot to do the Matt reporting. Matt's been on top of his game. It's all my fault, everyone. Don't blame Tyler. Send your hate mail to me. Okay, that's what I want to. I want to read it. But the Zelda games have boomerangs. Link's Awakening objectively has the best boomerang because it can kill the final boss in one hit. Ooh, cheat codes
really?
from that.
Wow, I didn't know that. I wonder if they'll keep that in the remake.
Some tasty cheese right there.
I like that Gouda.
That delicious Gouda. The Kirby games, Kirby Cutter is both a boomerang and a short-range knife. Oh man, Kirby, like the Rambo of the Nintendo universe.
Dang.
Ty, the Tasmanian Devil, has boomerangs. The Mana games is in Secrets of Mana, etc., etc. Spelunky, Skies of Arcadia, Ika's primary weapon is a boomerang. Look at that. Some of the Mario games, including Super Mario Bros. 3, of course, how did I not realize this? In Super Mario 3D Land, feature the Boomerang Bro, who is a variation of the Hammer Bro, except he throws boomerangs instead of hammers. Moreover, in Super Mario 3D Land, there's a power-up called the Boomerang Flower, which allows Mario to throw boomerangs.
Oh, yeah.
And that item also appears in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe. Gosh, Matt, you are just so on top of the boomerang game.
That's a lot of boomerangs.
It's so many boomerangs. He has a personal favorite boomerang, and it's from Dragon Quest. I've never played a Dragon Quest game. This is Mike talking, not Matt, okay? I'm not talking to him. I don't want to put words in Matt's mouth.
Matt's played a lot of Dragon Quest games.
He loves Dragon Quest. He says because it's the only weapon besides the whip that can hit multiple enemies in one attack. But why would you want to use a whip instead of a boomerang? That's a debate he wants to hear from us right now. I agree. I think you would want to use a boomerang over a whip every day.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the physical properties of this boomerang. If it's like a magic boomerang, like in Ocarina of Time, where it comes back no matter what, obviously the boomerang is better. If we're talking realistic physics here, where we need to throw the boomerang properly to get it to come back, I'll take the whip over the boomerang any day because I can't throw a boomerang.
What if you put a whip with a boomerang on the end of it? So then you get all the benefits of a whip, but you have a boomerang as well.
Oh, there you go. Put the yeah. That's great because then you can hit somebody with the boomerang. Yeah, because it would be really hard to throw a boomerang, hit something with it, and have it come back after that.
That's true.
Like that kind of messes up the flight path, getting hit.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Do you know if you buy the Jaybird Special Championship Edition, like our version of Jaybird, it comes with a whip boomerang?
Oh, we're adding that in right now.
Yeah, that's a physical thing you get from our special edition of our game. Because
first 100,000 copies get it, so it's going quick.
That's right. It also comes with a bust of Tyler, just a beautiful bust of Tyler.
Yep, it's great.
Life size,
I got them
too.
to shave off about 10 pounds, 20 pounds on that, so I look fantastic.
So cut and handsome. Okay.
Yep.
Tyler, Matt also says he just listened to our last episode, which I don't know which one that was, but he has a couple more Final Fantasy spinoffs. So that has to be
the episode about Final Fantasy spinoffs.
That has to be it. Dissidia Final Fantasy released on PSP in Japan in December 2008 and the United States in August 2009. This was an action RPG crossed with a fighting game featuring the main characters and main villains from each Final Fantasy game from 1 to 10.
Wow. I did play this briefly on my PSP. It was really hard, and I just didn't have a whole lot to say about it. That's why I didn't bring it up, because I just it's kind of a fighting game. They made a bunch of them. There's one on the PS4. I think there's a free trial you can play it too, so maybe I ought to give it a download, give it another try. Yeah,
he gives a breakdown here too. It's so there's one would have the Warrior of Light Garland, and 7 would have Cloud and Sephiroth and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but
it was cool because it was like the first 3D game with like voice acting for a lot of those characters too, especially for some of the earlier games. So like that was kind of neat.
You got to hear their voices for the first time.
Yeah.
Would you be upset if you were like, oh man, I'm so excited to play this Final Fantasy game, and it gets on, it's my voice? Would that upset you, Tyler?
No, that would make the game 10 times better.
Would it become your favorite Final Fantasy?
It would easily become my favorite Final Fantasy.
That's a beautiful, and that's what friendship is right there. Anyway, characters in Dissidia Final Fantasy have two kinds of attacks and life bars, and he puts that in quotes. So HP attacks, which only damage the HP life bar, and bravery attacks, which attack the bravery life bar. Attacking an opponent's bravery life bar would siphon their bravery to yours and would increase the power of your HP attacks. What?
Wow.
So it says you must deplete the opponent's HP bar to defeat them, but you have to go so it's like bravery first, I think. But maybe there's lots of strategies probably.
Yeah, it's like maybe you want to do the bravery early so that your HP attacks can get good, or maybe you want to start just whacking away at the HP attacks, not worry about bravery.
Yeah,
sure,
strategies.
There's lots of different ways to do it.
Total strats, bro. Got to look up on YouTube, find those strats. The game would later get a sequel in 2011 called Dissidia 012. Is that how you say it?
Duodecim, I believe, is the actual title. Duodecim.
Dissidia Duodecim Final Fantasy?
Yeah, because duodecim is 12, I think, in some in, I don't know, Latin.
That's cool. That's a cool way to make it so I feel stupid reading your game title. You hear me, Square Enix? I feel like a silly dummy right now.
It's like Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, but that's not how it looks like at all on the cover. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's confusing. But this one is cool, though, because it included characters and villains up to Final Fantasy 13. It also included some fan-favorite playable characters and villains like Tifa from Final Fantasy 7 and Kain from Final Fantasy 4 and Yuna
so cool.
from Final Fantasy 10.
Oh, who doesn't love Yuna?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love Yuna? So in 2015, another version of Dissidia came out in Japanese arcades. In January 2018, a port of the arcade game was released on PS4 called Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. This game featured playable characters across all 15 mainline Final Fantasy games, as well as characters from the spin-off games, including Ramza and Final Fantasy Tactics and Ace from Final Fantasy Type 0. Gosh, that's so neat. Finally, there's one more thing that Matt mentions. It's a game called Theater Rhythm. Oh, pronounced theater plus rhythm, I guess is how you say it. My bad. Final Fantasy.
Rhythm?
It's a rhythm game that showcases the amazing soundtracks of the Final Fantasy series, which, I mean, they do have amazing soundtracks. It's totally true.
They really do.
It came out in 2012 on 3DS. Similar to Dissidia, it's a huge crossover of all the different mainline Final Fantasy games, and this game features Final Fantasy 1 through 13, where players choose the numbered game they want to go through, and a party of any four main characters, and play through three types of stages. A field stage, which features the game's world map music and is played from the form of a side-scrolling rhythm game. A battle stage, which takes the form of the classic Final Fantasy battle, where your attacks come in the form of scrolling rhythm icons that you must tap or slide. And an event stage, which is similar to the field stage, but features important scenes from the game. That sounds really cool, actually.
Ooh.
Also a perfect DS game. Like, that sounds like just right up DS's alley. You know what I mean?
Except you need music, so you got to plug in your headphones or you got to play with the sound on. When I play portable games, I generally don't have the sound on because I'm trying not to bother the people around me, you know?
Totally agree. I do the exact same thing. You know why? Because we're respectful people, Tyler. It's nice. Yep. I'm not sitting there on the train or the bus playing the music on my phone. You hear me? People that play music on their phone in public?
You're the worst kind of person.
That makes me go crazy. A sequel was released in 2014 for 3DS called Theater Plus Rhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call, which features more games, more characters, more music, and more modes. It included Final Fantasies up to 14, A Realm Reborn, sequels like X2 and X2-2. Is that how you say that?
12-2, 13-2?
Oh, gosh.
Might play 13-2.
I'm just making up stuff. 13-2. And Lightning Returns. Spin-offs like Type 0, Final Fantasy Adventure, Crystal Chronicles Dissidia, and even Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children.
Oh, man. Advent Children. Highly underrated or overrated, depending on who you ask. I loved it when I was 15.
Oh, yeah. And Matt says, and this is actually written in Matt's words, it says in parentheses, so it's probably a hot take. Do you think it's a hot take?
What is it? Say it.
It says it's probably the most ambitious crossover in history.
Wow. Yeah, you're probably right. Feels like bigger than Endgame, bigger than Smash Brothers, easily.
Feels like a hot Matt take to me.
Yep.
They also make a Theater Plus Rhythm game for Dragon Quest. Thank you, Matt. That's so much good information. Gosh, I love Matt.
Me too.
The best. Seriously. He's gonna field it. He could replace me one day. You know, Tyler, when you're tired of me, you just let me know and
I'll
you'll
just
be
call
like,
Matt in.
you'll come up to the pitcher's mound, you'll be like, give me the ball, and I'll just give you my recorder, and then you'll call Matt in and he'll walk out. It's on a field. We always record on a baseball field if people didn't know.
Yeah.
Best acoustics.
It's part of our process.
Yeah, it's totally a part of our process. But thank you, Matt. It means the world to us. So today we're going to talk about Undertale. This was actually a written review that wanted a request. They wanted to hear this. And so I played Undertale. And I think it's important for us to also talk about indie games a little bit first. Not a whole long history, just a brief overview real quick. So I'm going to do that right now. Indie games, it's independent video games, so it's people that self-produce video games. It actually started when PC gaming began, technically in the 1970s and 1980s. And this is where people would have like really small teams of 1 or 2 programmers, and they'd self-distribute their games in stores or by mail order. And then in the 1980s and 1990s, it would be where shareware came into the game. Remember shareware, Tyler?
I do remember shareware.
Tyler's
It was my favorite way to play Doom.
Yeah, that's right, because Doom was Doom was an indie game. You know,
Yeah.
It was shared person to person, but the power of shareware before they became like id Studios, or, and became a big deal. So what really brought indies into the spotlight, though, there's 2 moments. First, the internet, obviously, it's the internet. People can share things. They can work together and make sharing games and those games easy to share. Also, online markets like Steam and Good Old Games and I would even say Humble Bundle does indies.
I think Humble Bundle comes right up there. I mean, that's what it's called. Humble Indie Bundle was what it was first called, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was just a bundle of indie games, Humble Indie Bundle.
That's nice. That's nice to know. Once Steam created projects too, like Steam Greenlight and Steam Direct programs became like, those programs really made it so those games became available to a really wide audience. And then indie games got even bigger when consoles, this is starting in the 7th generation, so that's Xbox 360, PS3, started covering indie games on their digital storefronts.
Yeah.
So you could play those PC indie games on your Xbox. That's huge.
Yeah, the internet was a really big deal because like producing a game is a big undertaking by itself, because publishing a game is a big undertaking. And so you want to make sure that when you're a publisher and you choose to publish a game, you need to make sure that you're not taking too big of a risk on like these games that are made by people who we don't really know if they're making good games. We don't really know what the audience wants. Maybe the audience for this game is really small and it's not worth putting together a physical package for this game and like a marketing campaign and stuff. And so making physical games was like a really big deal. And that was the only real way to get games. But then when the internet came around, suddenly the cost of distribution dropped huge, because you could just put it up on the internet and be like, whatever, download it if you want or don't. I don't care, because it doesn't cost more. The more people, like if tons of people download it, it doesn't actually cost a developer anything extra to put it together. So the internet was like super huge in making indie games become a thing. And then of course, Microsoft with Xbox Live, with the Xbox Live Arcade, they really spearheaded this. Like, we're going to put these lesser known developers up on our store because it's cheap and we don't really lose anything by putting them on the store. And the games took off. And even games that have smaller audiences can be really successful with this model.
Yeah, and I think it's important. Like, we'll do one day, we should do, like, we're doing Undertale today, which would have been included in this list, but we should probably do 3 really big indie games at some point, all as one episode, just to kind of explain, because the background of these are really interesting. And the background of Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, is really interesting too. So I'm glad we got to do this little indie spotlight thing on how the history of that started. I also want to mention Golden Azrael Dreamer is the person that wanted us to do Undertale and Deltarune, and I will explain. It's going to be a little bit shorter episode today. Undertale, I feel like, qualifies for a history for us, but Deltarune is very much still going. So I don't have much on that. I'll touch on it in the end. But Undertale, though, it all starts with a developer by the name of Toby Fox. That sounds like a really snazzy developer name,
It does. It's like Jonathan Blow, the guy that made Braid.
Oh, that's a great name. All these
people have like really good names.
Single syllable last name. That's what you need.
Phil Fish. Yeah, Phil Fish made, what was the name of that game that he made? Monument Valley, I think.
Oh, he also sounds like a Stan Lee character. So he's probably a superhero at night as well.
Fez is what he made.
He made Fez. Oh.
Yeah.
So this is actually the third kind of thing you could say that really helped out indie games, but Toby was smart and he financed his game because he had Undertale as a Kickstarter on June 25th, 2013. And that's where he got all the funding he needed to create his game. The original Kickstarter goal of Undertale was $5,000. It ended up raising $51,124, where 2,398 people backed the development of Undertale. That's
great.
Really, I should say three things: Kickstarter and crowdfunding, Indiegogo. That is huge for indie games now.
That's a great point. Yeah, because like back in the day, it was like, well, we don't know if there's an audience or if this is going to make money, so we're not going to make it. But with Kickstarter, you can put the idea out there and say, hey, would you pay money right now for this game? And I'll give it to you when it's done. And that like guarantees that you're going to get some sort of return, right? And it also helps set the confinements of like, hey, we got X amount of dollars, which means we can do, Y and Z features, but maybe not A and B features. Like you can sort of set how the game is developed too. Kickstarter is like a really interesting, it's not always great, but like the things that it enables are really, really cool in gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, full disclosure for people out there, I work in marketing for indie games as like a side job too. So it really does, it's totally made it possible for you to have these games that you love now, these small indie titles. Like without Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you wouldn't have those at all. I should also mention one fun fact. $51,124 is 1,022.48% of the original goal. So that's pretty neat.
Wow.
He really crushed it there. So another thing about Undertale, to me, what's actually one of the more interesting things about Undertale is just like looking at it as a whole. Toby Fox made this game almost entirely by himself over 32 months. And what's even more crazy is this was kind of his first game.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, right? And so in a random WordPress interview I found, it's an interview called Dev to Dev. The host is Sean Hogan. Fox says this, quote, "Back in the year 2000, my three brothers and I used RPG Maker 2000, the amazing Don Miguel translated version, in parentheses he says, to make role-playing games. We barely finished any of them, though, and none of them were ever released on the internet. I made quite a few Earthbound ROM hacks in high school. This really was my first real game project." End quote. So his first game he makes is, boy, oh boy, it's a hit. So this is where there's also more in that quote where he talks about the soundtrack and stuff, but we'll get to that later. Undertale's creation began when Fox created a battle system using the game creator system Game Maker Studio. I think we're all familiar with Game Maker, right? If you're not,
that's a neat application too.
Yeah, it's kind of like it teaches you to make games using sprites, and you can like it's very. I don't want to say basic because you can do a lot of stuff in Game Maker, but it's definitely a good introduction to making games. If somebody wants to just pick it up, I think they actually teach Game Maker in schools. In fact, I know they do. So it's a good program to learn on. And his goal was to create a JRPG that was not boring. Because Fox even says, "I love JRPGs, but I am very, very tired of, quote, traditional ones." He says, he goes on to say, "I just want to see one that's not boring to play, one with interesting characters, one that utilizes the medium as a storytelling device as much as possible, instead of having the story and gameplay abstractions be completely separate." So with the story of Undertale, I don't want to give too much away. So I'm just going to read the first paragraph from Wikipedia, because I looked this up and I'm like, you know what? This is actually really great as like a teaser for the game, and I don't have to write it and I can just read it and tell you. So also I should mention a lot of the stuff for Undertale, because what I do usually, my research method is I go to Wikipedia and I go to the footnotes and I actually read the full articles. That's kind of how I started doing it, to get like more of just the Wikipedia entry of it. And for some reason, all of the Undertale stuff, because they were all on indie websites that no longer exist, they're all gone. Like I maybe found like 3 of the actual interviews for this. The other old citations are they don't exist anymore. They take you to like a site, a website hosting site, like this website doesn't exist anymore. And you're like, oh man. So this is a paragraph on Undertale, the plot, straight from Wikipedia. Here we go. Undertale takes place in the underground, a realm where monsters, once equal to humans, were banished to after war broke out between them. See, it's on Wikipedia. It's not necessarily written wonderful. Okay. The underground is sealed from the surface world by an imperfect magic barrier, the only point of entry being a Mount Ebott. A human child falls into the underground and encounters Flowey, a sentient flower who teaches them the game's mechanics and encourages them to raise their LV or love by gaining EXP through killing monsters. When Flowey attempts to murder the human to take their soul for himself, the human is rescued by Toriel, a motherly goat-like monster who teaches the human to solve puzzles and survive conflict in the underground without killing. She intends to adopt the human, wanting to protect them from Asgore Dreamer, the king of the underworld. Ooh, you know what I just put together is Angel Dreamer, Golden Angel Dreamer. They're the one that wanted us to do this, and Dreamer's right there. Oh, their name is Undertale. Look at it, a real fan. I hope we're giving the super fan justice. Now I feel nervous.
Huge fan, yeah.
All right. So Fox did have one. That was from the Wikipedia. It's over, by the way. This is me now. Welcome back to the world of non-Wikipedia. Fox had one cohort on the project named Temmie Chang, who worked as the main artistic assistant for the game. So providing all the sprites you see and the concept art. And Fox even said the game's art style would pretty much remain the same, even if he had a big team of artists, because he found there's a, quote, psychological thread that says audiences become more attached to characters simply rather than in detail, particularly benefiting from the use of visual gags within the art. So he would like joke around with the art. A lot of this stuff's really funny. Like one of the monsters you encounter in the beginning just really wants you to eat your vegetables, which I think is fun. Like the game's just really fun. So that's also why the main character you play says nothing the entire story, a silent protagonist.
Ooh.
Fox says, quote, the character doesn't say very much because then you can identify with them better. Most of the game's narration is in the second person. The more details and personality I add to, quote, you, then the harder it is to get absorbed into the role, which I totally agree with. I mean, think about our other famous silent protagonists in video games. Link,
Mario.
Silent protagonist. Mario. I was thinking the main character in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah, Claude
is his name. Yeah, it's
Jack
fun.
from Jack and Daxter. Only the first game. In the second and third game, he does talk a lot.
Chief's also quiet in Halo.
Yeah, he's pretty quiet. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a silent protagonist, but he's quiet enough that it probably accomplishes that same sort of goal.
Yeah. So now here we've approached the big deal about this whole game. You ready for it? The big deal, Tyler. This is what really put this game, like gameplay-wise, what was really cool about this game is you can actually, instead of fighting, talk your way out of fights with the monsters. And you can actually do this the entire game. You can play the whole game passively. I was playing around with this when I was playing the game.
Oh my gosh, I want to do that. I want to play the whole game that way.
You can play the whole game without fighting monsters. The kicker with doing this is you won't get any experience. You won't get any health bonuses. So if you choose to play passively, the option for the late game is going to be very, very hard. Like you're going to die a lot because you got to kind of learn in the battles how to like talk your way out of it. And it's really simple in the beginning. Like you just like talk your way out, you figure it out. Okay. And then as the bosses get harder and harder, they're going to one-shot you if you're not ready.
If you don't know exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I should also mention, I don't know, I might be mentioning this too soon and I have it in here later, which is a very distinct possibility. When you get attacked by the game, your heart, which is your soul, like they mentioned in the beginning, the Flowey mentions at the beginning, it's like a mini game where you're like dodging bullets coming at it. So if you can dodge them, you can technically dodge the whole attack. It's like a little mini game within the battle system. I really like it. So
if you mess up when you're trying to talk your way out of it, you can still try to dodge the attack?
Yeah, you can. I think it just gets harder to dodge the later in the game. Full disclosure, I played like an hour of the game. My schedule was crazy this week, and I wanted to play more of it. I'm going to finish it. It's really fun. I just didn't have enough time to play it, but it was a really fun game. I recommend this to anyone. So the idea of talking to a monster, though, being able to talk to a monster in a video game is not new. Did you know that?
I loved doing that in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and I'm pretty sure the earlier Fallouts, but I didn't play them. You can play them passively as well. It's very difficult, I think, but I'm pretty sure you can play it. That's actually one of the things that turned me off of Fallout 4 because I was trying to play it passively. And like the first boss fight you get to in Fallout 4, there's no way to do it without shooting them, and I was like, oh, this isn't like the other Fallout games, and I pretty much quit on the spot.
Yeah, see, it's fun. It's a cool idea, and actually, the game that did this, I think, kind of is credited with first doing this is called Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's the
not Tensei.
That's the overall series that houses the Persona series of video games.
Oh,
so
really?
I know about some Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei was originally released on Super Famicom in 1992, just to give you a little context. But
Okay.
Fox says this, quote, I always liked talking to monsters in Shin Megami Tensei, so I started programming a battle system where you could talk to foes and convince them not to fight. When I started making the game, the idea that you could beat it without killing anyone just evolved naturally.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. I mean, it's a really cool idea. So you could play, and there's different endings based on how you play the game. So beyond the major bosses and a few scripted encounters, monsters tend to not have much of a story or character in RPGs. And so Shin Megami Tensei was kind of like, it was the first game to give that personality, you know, to the monsters. Because I feel like you just kill them blindly and you're just mindlessly killing, you know?
Yeah, you can
like,
kind of do that
Doom.
in the Persona series too a little bit.
Yeah. And in fact, in Shin Megami Tensei, the monster could actually join your party and help
Sounds
you.
just like Persona. That's how you get them to join your party. You
Yeah,
convince
see.
them that you're cool and that they want to be part of your gang.
That's really cool then. So yeah, it must have been like this is the first, you know, and then Persona took it over, and then Undertale just kind of took it to a whole new level of like
Yeah.
you can just like play the whole game not fighting.
That sounds great. I'm a big fan of the pacifist route in video games where available.
Yeah. So also it says too, they could also, if they join your party, they could provide you with little help during the current fight, or they could viciously turn on you in Shin Megami Tensei. So this
Yikes.
came about because each monster had its own desires and needs. They weren't just beings that existed for the player to pound, but creatures with character. Still, these monsters mainly existed for the player to beat up or run away from. Like that's still, because we all know, like in an RPG, you're just killing stuff. You got to level up.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go on that grind.
You got to get that EXP.
Exactly. Also, I should mention that another important note about this game, Undertale, that I did not put in here too, is there is a quote from Fox saying he didn't want people to have to grind, which I think is
love
pretty
you,
cool.
Fox. Toby Fox.
Yeah.
You're my hero, and I want to play your game now.
True hero. It's really cheap. It's like $10 on Steam, I think, and it's really fun. So combat was still unavoidable in Shin Megami Tensei, save for the occasional recruitment, but violence was still very much the rule of the game, you know. So it does that in Undertale also. Like for some Undertale players, it might be the most useful option for you to just kill someone or a monster, you know, because you're gonna.
Yeah.
That's kind of the game within the game. Is like, are you gonna stick to it? Are you gonna play passively? Are you really gonna do it the whole time, or are you gonna get like 3 hours in and then decide you're gonna kind of quote take the easy way out and just start killing stuff and getting XP and getting stronger? It's like up to you. It's like a game within the game.
That's cool. It sounds like at a certain point, you need to sort of commit, because if you haven't been leveling up the whole game and then you get to a really hard boss and you're having a hard time convincing them not to fight, well, you can't really fight them either because you're not very strong.
Yeah, it's like it's really, it kind of starts to wear you down, which I really like because I think I played it passively the first hour I played. Okay, I was just playing passively. And by the end of it, I was kind of like, oh man, 0 XP. I kind of want to start killing stuff, you know, because I want to get that
you gotta
power.
see those numbers go up.
Exactly. You want to see the numbers go up. So the writing of Undertale is very fun, very silly. I got that immediately from playing it. Like, I really liked it. Like, one of the first monsters you fight, as I said before, like tries to get you to eat your vegetables. You know, there's also this frog that you fight that you try to like, it just becomes your friend because it's sad. But the best character that you meet is actually that main character you meet, Toriel, the goat monster I mentioned before in the Wikipedia description. Mm-hmm. She's actually a parody of video game tutorial characters because she kind of plays like your overbearing mother who won't let you do puzzles or fight monsters on your own.
Hey, listen.
Oh, yeah. So, no, Fox actually, you probably read ahead, strongly dislikes the character of the companion. Is it Fi? Is how you say it? Fi in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. He hated that character so much because that character actually also would solve puzzles like for you, would just tell you the answer. instead of letting you figure it out.
Like one of the few Zelda games I haven't really put any time into, and I just remember hearing all kinds of stuff about how it was like a 30-hour tutorial. I'm like, that does not sound great. I know how to play a Zelda game. Come on.
Fox also, on top of the Skyward Sword tutorial, noticed that video games don't have a lot of moms in them. Like a lot of mother characters. When you think about it, like in a Pokemon game, your mom just kind of is like, oh, it's your mom. And then she just lets this 10-year-old go out hunting Pokemon on their own with no adult supervision and just lets you go. And in Earthbound, I guess it's the same way. And Earthbound, by the way, is a big pull from...
Yeah, the art style is very Earthbound.
Yeah, Undertale
inspired.
is very
you can
much...
tell immediately.
I think they talk about Earthbound. They talk about Mario and Luigi. Is it All-Stars? Is that
Superstar Saga?
Superstars Saga. Yeah, that's it. That's one of the things they pull from.
Those are very funny games. I need to play the rest of them. The first one got a remake. I need to play it. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, so like a lot of influence. You can see, like, I think it's cool because you can also see Toby's influences. And it's not necessarily like he's pulling from a game and just ripping it. He's adapting everything to his own way. And it really stands out. So Fox even felt that mothers are used as symbols rather than characters. So in response, he made Toriel's character a mom that acts like a mom and genuinely cares about your actions. And it's really funny because it's like a moment where it's like, I don't want you going out by yourself. You know, it's really dangerous. And then the mom like walks away. And like at one point she leaves you in a room just to sit there. And you're like, well, I'm not going to stay here. And you just keep going without her. So, okay, so the music of the game, this is bonkers too. Fox composed the entire soundtrack of the game by himself. Isn't that nuts?
Whoa, that is nuts. Those are
really...
I wonder how many people have the ability to like make a game and also do the music for it. Like that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he made the whole thing by himself. In fact, that's kind of like a follow-up what he does now. Like he does a lot of video game soundtracks and works on video game soundtracks for people. In fact, he got picked up by Nintendo to work on some of their games. I was snooping his Twitter earlier today. So it's really neat. I think it's a really cool thing that I'll get to that in a second. Sorry. Okay. So the release of Undertale was on September 15th, 2015, and it was for Microsoft Windows and Mac OS X at the time. Okay, but currently you can play it also on like Switch and PS4. Like later on, it came out for a lot of different systems. The game is critically acclaimed, like right when it comes out. Metacritic currently has it as 92 out of 100 based on 43 reviews. It's super
Everybody
good.
loves this game.
Yeah, and on the success of Undertale, Toby Fox wrote in a Tumblr post, quote, "Not only did I not expect this level of popularity, but initially I was afraid of it. At times, I wished I had a way to quell the attention. I felt a strange powerlessness and guilt for feeling stressed when the success of the game should be something I'm nothing but ecstatic about," end quote. So I like Toby. Toby Fox seems like a level-headed dude. You know what I mean?
The price of fame, man, it sucks too, especially when you're building this thing just because you love it and you just want it. You just want to make it. And you just want to make a cool thing. And then when you put it on the internet, you just want to share it with other people you think will think it's cool. And then it just explodes and just blows up. And like, I can imagine being happy that so many people love it, but also like really not feeling great about all the attention that you're getting too. I can totally, I don't want to say empathize with it. I haven't had that experience myself, but like, I think I can understand that feeling of like, oh man, should feel great, but doesn't. I think I would totally feel the same way if I were in the same spot.
Yeah. So it pretty much blew up, which is also why it was so nervous when Toby released his next game, Deltarune. So this came out.
Isn't that an anagram of Undertale?
It is an anagram.
Oh,
of
it is.
Undertale.
You wrote that. Sorry, I didn't mean to take your thunder there.
No, dude, you're just out here hunting down anagrams. I see you. So the first chapter was released in 2018, and like I said before, it's a little too soon to do a history because it's still technically going. They're going to have more chapters, I'm sure. One thing I will say about it that I read is Fox is quoted as saying, "It is for people who have already played Undertale. So I will not play it yet until I beat Undertale."
Yeah, you gotta wait.
Gotta wait it out. And it is an anagram of Deltarune. I mean, Deltarune is an anagram of Undertale. So there's that too. I kind of want to close this out by just being like, this is a good history, I think. Thank you for the request, by the way. Wonderful listener. We love you so much. But also, it's really inspiring, this story, I think.
Yeah.
Because he took a game and just made it huge. You know, like he's over like 500,000 followers on Twitter. If that's a measure of success, which I feel like to some people it is. That's surely it. But also, this game sold so many copies. It's critically acclaimed. Like, he hit all the marks, and it really is like if you like a video game genre and you think you can do it better, you should go for it. Why not go for it? And
there's so many great tools available for game developers nowadays, be it like Unity engine or Unreal Engine or Game Maker or whatever. Like, you don't have to be a master programmer to make a game anymore. If you've got an idea, you can just learn the tools that professional game makers use now, and you can make your own. That's awesome.
Yeah, it totally is awesome. And I think that's why this history was so great when I started delving into it. I was like, oh, this is a great one because it's kind of inspirational and it tells you about that. So what we want to tell you is if you want to go make something, go do it.
Follow your dreams.
Even if it's not a video game, even if it's like pottery, make some pottery and then send it to us because I would love a vase.
And we'll feature it on the show.
We will. It'll be our featured vase. Vase or vase?
Vase.
Vase? Is it vase?
Some people say vase.
Oh, man, we're getting fancy now. But hey, Tyler, what you been playing?
Oh, I forgot that we do this. I got to think now. What have I been playing? Okay, so I played a lot of... So I had this last week off. I took a whole week off to just do nothing but whatever I wanted for the week. So I went... It was a staycation. I stayed at home. Played a lot of video games.
Sounds nice.
It was great. I played... World of Final Fantasy, which I'm still struggling to finish. So I thought I was close to the end of World of Final Fantasy. I got to the credits and everything. I was like, sweet. I even went over to my game, my Trello board with my games on it so I could move it over to the completed section. I moved it over to the completed section. Then after the credits, the game's not over yet. It's a false ending. They really bamboozled me with those credits. I got like 10 more hours. I looked up a guide online. I was like, how much more of this game is there? I got like 10 more hours.
Bamboozled.
I got really bamboozled. I was like, when it kind of puts you back into the game afterwards, I was like, oh, cool. There's like some stuff you can do afterwards. I thought it was going to be sort of a setup for like, here's how you go do all the things you didn't do on the way here. I was like, that's cool. I'm not going to do that. But then it was like, no, story's not done yet, dog. You got a lot to do now. It's like, crap. So I'm not done with World of Final Fantasy yet.
It's like threatening you. It's like you thought you were done and you're not done. Take that, Tyler.
I feel real bamboozled by those credits because this game is not even close to over yet. So I played that. I played a lot of Final Fantasy 14. I've been doing my raid every week, the Eden raid. So I've done it 4 weeks in a row. Now, once you've done it 7 weeks, you get the super cool weapon from Eden. So I still got a couple more weeks, 3 more weeks of that. But I'm having a good time leveling up my Dark Knight also, so I can have a tank class. So that when I queue up for things, I don't have to wait as long because tanks have shorter queue times. I played the tutorial of Gears of War 5, which I think we should totally play together, because Gears of War 5, A, it's available on Game Pass Ultimate, so we don't have to pay anything extra for it. B, it comes with a recap of the whole series before Gears of War 5, so we don't even have to play those games if we don't want to. We can just jump right into Gears 5.
I would love to do that with you. I have it on Game Pass. We could just play it for free.
Yes, same. It's not even out yet. It doesn't come out until Tuesday, but because we're cool kids with Game Pass,
well, it comes out the same day as Borderlands 3.
Oh no, this is terrible.
That's
I need to play that too.
That's a heated date, man.
Oh no, I forgot about Borderlands 3.
They both come out on the 12th, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's my big like. Well, I got more. I'll tell you in a second. You keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, I'm trying to think of what else I played this week while I was on staycation mode. I didn't do as much video gaming as I thought I was going to do because I did some cooking. Also, I made some homemade ramen. I made noodles by myself with Kelly.
I've been watching your Facebooks and Instagrams. You and your
Kelly's,
because
I don't post anything. But
well, I
Kelly
mean, like you guys made pizza too.
Yeah,
stuffed
dude,
crust?
that pizza looked so legit. It also tasted legit. But like when we pulled it out of the oven, I was like, oh man, this is the most legit home pizza I've ever seen.
Were you about to be like, I'm about to quit my job and make a pizzeria?
Yeah, I thought about it. I about it. So I did some of that. I tended to my farm, my porch farm. Now I have spaghetti squash, peanuts, peppers, tomatoes, and oregano. And I'm about to plant some potatoes. But those aren't video game
crushing
related.
It right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I played anything else. I did want to buy Torchlight 2 for the Switch because I love Torchlight, but I didn't, so I didn't play it. So I don't really need to talk about it.
Okay, I like your urban farming updates though. I'm a big fan of that big city farm life you're living.
Maybe I'll
now.
start an urban farming podcast.
That'd be good. That'd be good stuff. I'd listen to that. Could I be a guest on your urban farming podcast?
Of course. Yeah, of course you
good.
can.
All
What have you been playing, Mike?
So last week was PAX. PAX was crazy.
You gotta tell me all about PAX.
Some of my listeners,
you don't have to do it here, but
my listeners, not our listeners. Jeez, I'm still okay. It took me like 4 solid days to feel like a human again after PAX. But
man, did you get PAX pox?
Is that where you get sick from PAX?
Yeah.
I did not. I was hand sanitizing like a madman.
That's the right way to do it.
So I was working for a booth for a game called Cooks Over Delicious 3. Really fun game. Okay, but the way I would describe working is treat your demo person with respect is what I want to say. If you go to one of these, like whatever you go, E3, PAX, whatever you go to, just know that demo person is giving it their all. Okay, because oh boy, I was like dead after day 1, and I had 3 more days of it because I had a day off, but I wanted to go around and see PAX. So I had an exhibitor badge, which is cool. So I got in early, so I got to go through the Destiny 2 line very quickly. Right when they opened, I was first to play. I was in the first group to people to play.
Did you get to talk with Bungie people, like talk with Deej and stuff?
They didn't see Deej there. Apparently they were there, but they were like in and out, and I was like super into it, and I lost my game, which is fine. It's totally fine. Okay, not a big deal. But I had a great record though. Like I was on top of the team, so it's like I felt good about it. Also, it was cool to see the new armor and stuff, and I got a Titan. And so I got to play as a Titan, which was cool.
Nice.
Because each computer had a different class, so it had 2 of each class on it, and I got lucky, and I just was on a Titan. Because people were like switching. Which I thought was funny.
To get the class they wanted.
Yeah, and I was like, at least I'm just on a Titan, so it's totally fine. That was really cool. I also played a demo for a game called Journey to the Savage Planet. Have you heard of this game? It's pretty cool. It's like, I would kind of describe it as Borderlands meets Subnautica, but instead of landing on an ocean planet, you just land on a crazy looking cell-shaded goofy planet, and you're like
interesting.
Like you're just a person that becomes an astronaut through this weird company. It's very dystopian and funny, and it's very humorous. I was a big fan of that. I had a fun time. I played a lot of board games while I was there too on my day off.
Yeah,
my friends
is good
were there.
for board games.
Yeah, my friends were there, and that's what we did. We just played board games. We didn't want to sit at the demo line because at that point, like if it's after 11 o'clock a.m., you can't even get into any of, like, I didn't do the Borderlands 3 demo because I was like, this game comes out in 3 weeks. I'm not going to do that demo. I'm just going to wait. It was really fun, but I've been playing a very select, like kind of a mixture of games this week. It's kind of been weird. I've been playing a little bit of each one. So I played some of the Outer Wilds.
Oh, yeah. That's coming out on Game Pass, huh?
Yeah, it's really fun. Oh, the Outer Wilds, not the Outer Worlds. That's different.
Different games. Okay.
Yeah, the Outer Wilds.
This is not the Fallout.
No,
Space Fallout.
This is different. This is the Outer Wilds. This is like you fly a ship, and every 22 minutes the world resets, and you're trying to solve a mystery.
Oh.
Like the sun blows up every 22 minutes, and you start again, and you remember where it happened. It's kind of like Memento-ish a little bit. Yeah. It's really fun, and you're a goofy-looking alien. It's really fun. I love it. And I played that. I've been playing a lot of Apex with friends, obviously. I've also been playing a lot of Skyrim alone because I just like Skyrim, and I've been feeling it. You know when you just like feeling a game? It's good. I also have been playing, and this is a weird pull, every 3 months, my friends and I start playing Minecraft again because they introduce new updates, and we're just all in again. And I've been doing that all week. I think we're going to all stop, kind of. We've all agreed, like, this week is Minecraft week, and then when Borderlands 3 comes out, we just all switch over to that. Like, it's kind of the way it's going to go. But it's been a fun week for games. Kind of random. Good stuff. Been very busy. I feel slightly terrible about missing last week. I'm not going to lie, Tyler. I feel kind of bad about it. So I think in 2 weeks, I kind of am going to try to do a long one.
Okay.
Like, dare I say the longest episode we've ever done.
I love it. I'm in.
Do you love it? Are you into it? Okay. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I'm torn between 2 topics right now. And I got to kind of look into both topics and see. Well, I'll tell you after this, but I'm not going to tell the listener.
Okay.
Okay. Unless you want me to not tell you too. You want it to be a secret?
I don't know. We'll decide later.
We'll decide later. Okay. But you're next week, right? Do you know what you're doing next week yet? Have you decided?
No, I don't.
Oh, this is so good. This is a mystery box. Total mystery box. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I got some ideas, but I don't know yet.
But until then, thank you. Oh, let me get the person's name up real quick. Talk about something real quick, Tyler.
Okay. I'm super stoked to play Borderlands 3. Are you playing that on Xbox?
I was going to play it on Xbox because my friends play it on Xbox.
Okay. It has split screen co-op, right?
I don't know if it's split screen co-op. No, I think it does. I think you're right.
Okay. The other ones did, but you never know. Because I'm trying to decide what platform to buy it on. But if it has split screen co-op, then buying it on Xbox is a no-brainer. So I can play it with Kelly, and also then I can play it with you as well. Because usually the PC versions don't have split screen co-op.
I see.
So it might be an Xbox One title for me.
I'm
okay with that.
I'm going to be getting Xbox One because this is my buddies play on, and that would be fun if we got to play on it too. I just wanted to say one final thank you, by the way, to Golden Azrael Dreamer. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Golden Azrael Dreamer.
Thank you for requesting this. I hope we did it justice for you. Thank you so much for listening. And if you guys want to request one, feel free to get at Tyler and I at codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com or tweet at us a recommendation, and we'll try to do it. This was fun. I mean, I feel like there wasn't a lot of a meat to it. Again, it was really hard to research because all these links were dead. It really, really weirded me out. So I tried to cover as much as I could.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
But I think we kind of nailed it. We got the feel of it down, and I think we just gave enough of a good tease for everyone to play the game. It's a fun game. So with that, I think that's the episode.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Tyler, and thank you for listening, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.